青へ強がって飛び乗って風に流って青空昨日を越えろ
Hello everybody! Welcome to another episode of Talking Mons. I apologize that we were off last week, but we're here to talk about episodes 19 and 20 of Digimon Adventure 2020. A lot of shit happened.
Yeah.
My name is JD, and as always, and Gary are here.
Hello, we missed you.
Jeanette, missed you guys.
Yeah. But it was kind of good that we're doubling up again this week, because these episodes kind of bleed into one another, so it almost is more beneficial about them together. So we'll start with episode 19, which is called How Jukin, or how the fuck you pronounce it.
It's Leomon's special attack.
His attack is called Fist of the Beast King, and he shoots a giant lion head out of his fist.
If I understand Japanese, it would probably just be just as awesome.
Sure.
I want to make an inappropriate joke about this so hard, and I'm going to restrain myself.
Okay. So this episode picks up with Matt and Tai meeting up with Leomon, who I guess is like resistance leader Leomon, because we got to have a resistance in 2020. And
He saved him from an ambush.
he does on him and his team's giant ostriches, which I think is really funny because he has like two little partner friends who are not essential to the story at all. But I don't know who the little blue and white fuzzy one was, but I know Falcomon is the little owl friend.
Yeah, Falcomon.
And it's weird because Falcomon evolves into an ostrich.
Yes.
I know. I don't know. I don't know. I just thought it was funny that he's just writing an evolved form of himself. But yeah. So Leomon basically says like, "Hey, this giant walking fortress, because this is Digimon 2020's second living fortress."
Can I say that the face of this fortress, Valvemon? Okay, this huge hunking metallic beast walking around, and you pan up slowly, and what do you see? A freaking domo face.
He's got the derpiest face, and I love him.
Yeah.
It's like all the intimidation factor just dropped.
See, my question is with these like vehicle Digimon, like, are they sentient?
I don't know, because
There's so many questions.
Well, because they go inside, and like at one point they're like repairing Valvemon's eyes, so it's like I don't like to what extent are they sentient? I don't know. So yeah, the Leomon, Matt and Tai, and obviously Agumon and Gabumon, they have to go inside Valvemon because apparently there's some holy Digimon shenanigans going on in there.
Valvemon's inside story.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then they fought off a lot of generic stormtroopers.
They do. Yeah.
I'm not sure stormtroopers is a fair term because I think stormtroopers can aim better than these guys could.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's here a little bit of this, a little of that. I will say out of this episode, I really like Leomon. Obviously, Leomon's a staple of Digimon. But I do like Resistance Leader Leomon, and him just being a badass and like just kicking all kinds of ass in this. I love everything between him and Minotaurmon, just like beating the shit out of each other. And him just like doing his weird Hadouken move. And
I love how Minotaurmon did not expect him to punch with his other fist.
I fucking love that where he's like, I have a second fist. And I'm like, hell yeah.
I think he was just confused, as like he didn't know his other fist could shoot lasers, but like, yeah, he's got 2 fists, motherfucker.
I also really liked how, like, apparently there's intense politicking going on in the Digimon world, where some Digimon are joining off with Devimon because they think he offers a better future. And then there's Leomon who's resisting Devimon because, Devimon's evil. And I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
that doesn't, parallel the current climate at all right now. But yeah, that is interesting that like some Digimon are like willingly going to Devimon's side. They're not like all brainwashed.
Yeah, which is how it was in the original show. Is they were just
Right.
bad until you got destroyed the gear, and then they were good again.
Right. So that is kind of add an interesting wrinkle to these things. I do like that Minotaurmon just unleashes Bull for no real reason. He's just like, I have a friend as well. And just like this Bull Digimon comes out of the wall.
He has a theme.
He does. No, it was just funny that he just like pretty much comes out of nowhere.
Then there was like his death animation where he's like, "You guys aren't prepared for what's coming," and it's like, "Gee whiz, that's some heavy shit."
Yeah, it was very interesting when Minotaurmon bites it, because like usually when they beat the bad guys, they kind of explode immediately, but like Minotaurmon like hangs on for a minute and like, wait a second, I got a monologue to do real quick. Hold up. So yeah, like I mean, this episode is mostly just like infiltrate the fortress, beat the boss, and get the treasure at the end, and that sure all happens.
Yeah. I thought it felt super like Saturday morning cartoony, which I totally dig.
Oh yeah, this is just like, this is like I like the whole like Leomon and Matt and Ty like just infiltrating this giant walking fortress and just fighting things along the way. So like it was good fun. But man, there's a bit of a gut punch ending that kind of left us on a cliffhanger for a week.
But before we talk about that, since the cliffhanger ending literally leads into the next episode, I think we should talk about the other kids.
Yeah, so everybody but Matt and Ty are back in the real world. Not really sure why.
Anyway.
Yeah, the humans are back in the real world. Not really sure why. Haven't been told why yet. Is it this episode of the is it 19 or 20 where Izzy and Sora meet up at the park? Is it?
That's the next episode.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute then. But yeah, it's just kind of revealed that all the other human kids went back to the real world after that giant fight with Nidhoggmon, and
Joe went and told the police, and they told him to get lost.
Oh my god, I love that moment. He's just trying to be a responsible citizen.
He just has to like, Joe, you're talking nonsense to a normal person who has none of your life experience.
I think the lack of self-awareness about Joe, though, is just one of the things I love about him.
Yeah, I mean, motherfucker went to a fantastical new world and is still his main priority is studying. I mean, that tells you all you need to know about him. But yeah,
they did meet up with Kari and Ty's mom. And she just like,
I love that. Like, Ty's mom just hands their cat over to Sora, and he's like, "Here, watch my cat."
Sing for 3 days, but watch my cat.
I know.
I was so hoping that Kari would say something to the kids, like, "Thank you for saving the city," or something like that.
I don't know if does she know that? Like, is she aware of anything that's been going on?
It definitely implied that she and some other kids were watching somehow, like through the different like big giant screen on the side of skyscrapers.
Oh, I didn't know if they were like aware of what was going on the other side during that like digital Tokyo event thing. Though Kari's been some weird like Avatar bullshit over the years, so it wouldn't surprise me if she has like some weird mystical knowledge that we're not privy to yet. So fucking knows. That girl's crazy. Do you guys want to talk about the big ending now, or do you have anything else you want to talk about this episode?
I'm ready to talk about the ending.
Okay. So yeah, at the end of episode 19, we are hit with the reveal that TK's floating in a tank in the middle of this giant fortress thing. Just floating in water, asleep, because
Well,
Like, when did that happen? Like, we saw him in the real world.
Yeah, just don't know. We don't know yet. I don't know if they'll explain, like in the next episode, TK is like, oh, this is what happened between now and then. But for right now, we just know that TK was in a stasis tank, I guess, and then is kidnapped by a giant dragon bird.
Oh, after he was freed.
Yeah.
And the dragon bird freaking like destroyed Valvemon.
Yeah, he did. He's like, fuck you, I'm taking this kid. And he does.
Taking all the credit.
The fucking death bird. I do enjoy like how much they're pulling Digimon that were like notable in other seasons and kind of just putting them as like background or like incidental characters. Cause like Velgamon was like a plot point in season 4. And here he's just a mindless death bird. So yeah, so it's just interesting seeing like them pulling kind of, I guess, what newer Digimon from like later seasons that are pulling into this retelling of the first season. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. One thing I noticed with the TK whole thing with him is I think they just did it because it looked cool, but they were using like sort of like the being in the pod and such, or just like used to symbolize like rebirth in anime usually. And I don't think it's really means anything in this beyond that it looks cool, but sort of like that's surprising stuff to see in like a Digimon TV show for kids.
I mean, like, we'll talk about Bondage Angemon here in a bit.
That's true.
But yeah, so most of this episode is like tied between like Matt and Tai and Leomon trying to free TK from this dark shadow ball that Velgamon has TK in, which I kind of didn't realize until this episode where he's featured a little more prominently. I didn't realize TK has his initials embroidered into his hat. And I find it funny.
At least it's better than what he had in the previous show. Like there's no way that was making in the reboot.
It's a more sensible hat this time. I guess let's talk about the real world stuff real quick so we can get to the meat of it. But
okay.
So we kind of find out that, you know, all the kids made it back to the real world. Izzy and Sora meet up at the park. I like Sora. I was more kind of shocked, but also found a lot of humor in Sora saying that, like, okay, so I went back home and my mom like chewed the fuck out of me because apparently we've been gone for 3 days. And look, I understand there was a citywide panic, but I would be like hounding down so many police if my child was gone for 3 days. And Ty's mom, again, didn't seem to be phased at all that, you know, her child has been gone for 3 days.
Haven't come back yet.
I know, yeah, he's still gone.
They're on to 4 day.
Yeah. So I don't like. Obviously, you know, there's a time dilation. Clearly, kids have been gone for a lot longer in digital world time. They have been in real world time. That's always been like established. But yeah, it's just like I feel like Sora's kind of got off easy, which is like, yeah, I got yelled at by my mom. I was apologizing for so much, and my knee started to hurt or whatever. And then she's allowed to just go back out into society the next day. Like that kid would be grounded, or like, I don't know what stranger took you, but you're not leaving the house without supervision forever now.
I mean, it's sort of like, what could Sora even say? Like, you can't tell your mom that you went to the digital world and hung out with a bird and...
Yeah, I want to know what her explanation was. Like, where does your mom think you were?
I want to know what all of their explanation was.
No. And like, again, like, Izzy and Sora just allowed to go to the park after all that? And like, no.
I kind of wondered what Izzy was going to say about his home, and then it got cut off. Like,
yeah, it's interesting. And there's something I always liked. I think maybe what drew me to Digimon more. I mean, I watched Pokemon and Digimon equally as a kid, but I think what really invested me a little more in Digimon is the fact that their characters have I guess
they have family lives.
They more relatable family lives, I guess is what I wanted to say.
Yeah, they have real life issues.
Yeah, because like I could understand Matt and TK's situation where the parents are very openly divorced. And it was very interesting, at least in the first series, where Izzy is going through his like struggle with knowing that he's adopted, but his parents haven't told him yet, or at least directly.
Yeah, he overheard them.
Yeah, he overheard them. So yeah, it was kind of nice that they alluded that Izzy's got a kind of a weird home life because of that. I hope that they kind of get back, they address it a little more directly later on, because it is interesting seeing these kind of family dynamics like approached by these kids that are like 9 or 10. That, you know, a lot of anime does.
Well, like when you're 9 and 10, it's really when you start to become aware of real world issues and really start to process them. And I think it was a great way to like help kids just understand that, I don't know how to put it in words exactly, but basically that, you know, going through issues, we all have issues and you're not alone in that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's nice that they're alluding to their family lives. I hope it's something that they can address more in the future. That creaking is my chair, not me farting.
One little funny thing that I found is that Izzy is like really weird out that he other people can see him talking to his Digimon on the laptop. It's like, does it really matter? Because it could, most adults, it's like, to most adults, it's a kid playing video game.
Yeah, that's Melanie and I had the same reaction where he like freaks out because someone like walks by and stares at him talking to his computer, and then him and Sora run off to like some secluded corner of the park. It's like, who cares? Like, you live in 2020. I mean,
2020.
Just tell him it's World of Warcraft or some shit.
Fortnite. It's Fortnite.
Yeah, don't worry, lady. I'm just playing Fortnite with my friends, and that bug is just his avatar. It's fine. Like I'd believe that. It was weird, but yeah, it kind of shows us that all of the other partners they didn't come back to the real world, but they actually in that network world that we saw like at the very beginning of this show.
And stuff is going like. There's shenanigans going on.
Guessomon, the giant squid, is just roaming around in there. Nothing's happened with him yet. They just keep showing him in shadow, floating around, being a squid and whatnot.
It's going to be a lot of DDoS attack.
Hell yeah.
They also alluded to like stuff going on in other networks around the world, but didn't say exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
I was kind of curious about that.
Yeah, I think in the next couple of episodes we're gonna like start to find out that this Digimon infecting the real world networks and stuff is more of a global problem rather than centralized to just Tokyo. I guess that's something we're gonna have to just see in the next couple of weeks. But anyway, yeah. You know, you get to see the rest of the episode is more or less just a giant fight with like Metal Greymon, Weregarurumon, and Leomon fighting Velgamon trying to get TK out of this shadow ball, and sorry, go ahead, Gary.
No, I was gonna say, like, it's pretty badass seeing like I and Matt team up where Metagramon launched his extendable arm and Matt running across it.
Gary,
it was so badass.
I think we're forgetting the more badass moment where Metal Greymon shoots a missile out of his chest, and where Gurumon surfs that missile.
Oh my god, that was amazing.
That was amazing too.
I like this is so fucking ridiculous that I kind of love it. That like I knew the second where Gurumon is like, hey, he's like, hey, Metal Greymon, do your thing, attack again. He's like, he's gonna surf that missile, isn't he? And then
there's been a lot of really good action moments in anime this year, but I think that may be on my top 10, just where Gurumon's surfing on the missile.
It's just so dumb, but it's so great. I love it. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, it really showed a lot of cooperation between Metal Greymon and Weregurumon. Like they actually work off of each other. Their attacks like complement each other, and they like kind of strategize a bit, which we don't see a lot in these kind of shows, especially in Digimon, where their attack plan is mostly just like shoot at them one at a time, and hopefully that works. No, there was actually some like strategy involved in this. Like we need to distract Velgamon while Matt like tries to get TK out of the shadow ball.
I feel like
just like dive into.
Yeah, I feel like in the series in general, there's a lot more thoughts put behind the fights and the strategy. Mm-hmm. Like at first, it was pretty simple, and as it's gone on, it's gotten a lot more thought into it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And in that aspect, I'm really enjoying this show. And honestly, it's I know there was a bit of a down period towards the earlier part of the show, but it's like just been getting better and better.
Yeah, it was definitely worth sticking with.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, because like this whole mystery with Devimon and like what he's trying to accomplish, and like what TK has to do with this, and they're really kind of building up a bit of a mystery with this whole Holy Digimon thing. But I do want to say, as much as I hate Matt, I commend him having the balls to just jump onto that shadow ball, not knowing if it's solid.
Or what it is.
I was seriously gonna be like, okay, best show of 2020, if Matt just whiffed it and just like fell through it. It's like, what did you think it was?
Or
you don't
like
know it's solid
or something.
I know. It's just like I just saw it as like it's a big like smoke ball, and TK's just suspended in it. It's like it has no solid mass, and Matt just like with reckless abandon just throws himself onto it. And it just works out for him, I guess. But Matt eventually pulls TK out of this. TK wakes up from his weird mini coma. And then Angemon, who has been in tentacle bondage somewhere, we don't know where, he just was somewhere, finally shows up. Just Angemon proper.
Yeah, he like cracked open the ground and just flew out.
Yep.
Between
flew out from hell.
Between the TK floating in fluid scenes and the Angemon bondage, either this episode is going to give some Japanese children nightmares or a early onset fetish.
Yeah, I could see some sexual awakenings coming from bondage Angemon. No shame in that. You know, you live your truths, man. Mm-hmm. I did think it was kind of weird that like they kind of had this weird like reveal of Angemon where like he shows up, blasts Velgamon with his holy light, powers up Metal Greymon, Weregurumon so they could finish him off. But he's doing this all with like his wings wrapped around his body, so he just looks like a big pile of feathers with feet. But then at the end, he like unveils himself, and I'm like, okay, that sure is Angemon. Like anyone who knows anything about Digimon knows what Angemon looks like. I don't know why it's a big like I don't know why it was a big secret, but
see, I was pretty excited even though it was like obvious that was Angemon, because Angemon was part of the season finale of the old show. So I just felt like such a big deal that Angemon's here now, you know. and they kind of had to build up to it.
And it was kind of weird that, like, I get why, but it was weird that, like, it was Angemon, not Patamon, like, because like Angemon shows up, beats the big devil bird, gives TK his Digivice, and then like, all right, I got hurt. I'm gonna turn into an egg now, and then he turns back into an egg. So we can get into the subplot from the first series.
I didn't even get to see my flying potato this episode. I'm so sad.
You get to see the flying potato in every closing credits every week.
It's not the same.
I
see,
know.
I felt like in the earlier podcast episodes when I said I wanted TK to appear, I kind of wish on a monkey paw because I actually can't really see on TK. I just wanted to see the Patamon, and I got TK, but Patamon's not here yet. It's an egg, and I'm just like,
we'll probably have to wait several more episodes until the egg hatch.
I kind of know what you mean because Melanie, my wife, who watches these episodes with me, bases her ratings of the episodes on whether or not Goemon appears or not.
Yeah, this episode is 0 out of 10. No Joe. 5 seconds of Goemon saying one line.
We were watching it. It's just like, I don't know if this is a good episode or not. Goemon's not in it, and I'm like, all right. But then he shows up. She's like, okay, it's not completely terrible now. He shows up for 5 seconds, and that's how my wife bases her opinion on this show.
Hey, everyone's opinion is valid.
It's true.
It's a good system to go by too.
If Goemon's not around, you should be wondering where's Goemon.
Exactly.
But yeah. So TK gets his egg for about 5 seconds, and then this night guy just shows up and like, hey, this egg's mine now. Later.
TK didn't even get the egg. It was still hovering slowly, dramatically down, and then that night just broke the scene.
And then like the night guy literally comes out of nowhere, like he hadn't been established up to this point. He just shows up and like, I'm taking this.
I think it was a subversion of like the original series where the scene where the egg falls into TK's arms, and then instead it's like, nope, we're doing something different. We're going off script.
Well, because I think it's like Devimon's like, bring me that egg. And he's like, all right.
We shall seep it in evil.
Yeah, we're going to make Dark Angemon, Arcangemon. I don't fucking know, man. Devimon's got some weird shit going on.
See, I'm kind of thinking, I know we've talked about the power levels, but with everything that's been said, I kind of don't think Devimon is, I know in like the canon he's champion, but I'm kind of thinking he's something different in this one, you know.
Maybe he's a different kind of Devimon because we only ever see him in Shadow. Maybe he's like a new version or something.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think he is still a champion. He's just have a good scheme that other Digimon is willing to follow.
I'm just so evil. I can influence people more powerful than me.
He's just charismatic.
He just has a good personality that people can get behind.
Exactly.
He wants to build the border wall. But
go vote 2020.
Right? Please, if you're in America, please go vote in 2 weeks. It's very important. And that's all I'll say about that. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I mean, I enjoyed both of these, especially kind of like put them together. It kind of tells like one kind of continuous story. You can run them right back to back and they'd run right into each other. So yeah, I mean, I like this, like finding, hey, like, by the way, TK is in the digital world now, and having this entire episode trying to get him back, and then he gets back, and then like Angemon shows up for a hot second, saves the day, and then he's an egg, and then, well, he's in the hands of Devimon now, so I guess we better go do something about that.
I would like to point out with this episode, we're about 1/3 of the way through the series.
Oh
yeah, because there's 60 something episodes planned, and we're on episode 20. So yeah, we're about we're getting up there already. It's hard to believe this is 20 episodes already. Like, damn, a lot has happened.
Yeah, it was so slow at first, but now it's like freaking waterfall.
Yeah, I don't remember what episode it really hit the ground running, but it like is just throwing stuff at you now. Like, you know what? Here's the other kid now. We got another one, but she'll show up probably later down the line. I don't know when Kari's supposed to show up.
She'll show up
And
too in a pod. It'll be really weird.
Probably. It'll just be the exact. It'll be another Valvemon with another tank in the center, and the Kari's just in it. And I'm like, wait a minute, we did this already. That kind of self-awareness, that's my jam right there.
So, Jeanette, how long do you think we'll actually see Patamon? Because we have to wait until the egg hatch and several form of evolutions, and also rescuing the eggs.
I'm pretty sure we're not going to see him enough. I guess the one thing that I am kind of disappointed in, and I don't know if it's going to be this way for the series or not, but since he's already evolved, there isn't going to be the whole subplot where TK is trying to teach Patamon to evolve and Patamon just can't evolve. Because I enjoyed that in the original series.
Well, I don't know. I could see them, like, TK getting like Patamon back and then still kind of going through that plot, because like TK could be like, well, you did it before, why can't you do it again?
I could
Everyone
totally
else
see that.
does it.
Evolve, god damn it.
just squeeze him. Yeah, so my predictions right now is that Devimon has the egg. He's gonna like try to corrupt Angemon or something, but like TK's whatever power, his hope powers, is gonna be too great, and Angemon is gonna be the one to like punch Devimon in the face again, just like he did last time. But so that's my prediction: is Angemon's gonna like try to get corrupted. It's gonna fail, and then we'll just get a repeat of the first series of Angemon versus Devimon.
My prediction on slightly different plot line is that we will see bad Digimon entering the real world before we see the 4 kids returning to the digital world.
I could see that.
I mean, Gary's been pretty on point through this whole prediction thing.
I know. Gary's pretty good about predicting plot lines so far.
I didn't predict them going to the real world. That was a complete shocker.
Oh yeah, come on, Gary, get your shit together. No, yeah, it's up in the air what's gonna happen next, and I'm excited for it. Like I'm here for, you know, whatever they're thinking about. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about these 2 episodes before we start wrapping up here?
Nope, I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, there you go. There's our thoughts on episode 19 and 20. We will be back again, hopefully next week, to talk about episode 21. Some shit's gonna go down with Greymon, I think. They were kind of vague about it, but we'll see. Until then, everyone stay safe, and we'll catch you all again next week.
Bye.